Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Ariel Camus on the line, and he is founder and CEO of Microverse. Ariel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you so much for having me here.
All right, Ariel. So I'm excited to get into Microverse and to learn more about your business and really how you're helping people in the marketplace. But before we get into that, we'll start this episode the way that we start them all, with our Mission Matters Minute. So, Ariel, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Ariel, what mission matters to you?
So Microverse started with the vision, not with the business idea. And the business came after that vision. The vision is that the place where you are born in the world, the family, the environment you're born in, shouldn't determine your opportunities in life. And our mission is that education, especially if we can provide a world-class education that prepares you for a global world, can help you connect with global opportunities where you can develop your full potential and help solve humanity's biggest problems like climate change, space exploration, curing big diseases like cancer, and contributing to this global economy. That is the mission that I've been working on for the last 7 years now, 3 years with Microverse.
Fantastic. Love to bring on mission-based entrepreneurs and individuals to share, why they do what they do, how they're doing it, and what we can also all learn together as we kind of work through on this entrepreneurial journey together. So great to have you on. And just get us kicked off, Ariel, where did this start for you? I mean, just the entrepreneurial journey in general. Like, how did you start as an entrepreneur?
I was 4 years old.
I love it. 4 years old. Yeah. Come on, man. That's amazing. Tell me.
I'm not kidding here. My friend, best friend from childhood, told me that the candies and lollipops in the corners were too expensive. So we decided to create our own store in at the door of his house. So my mom used to drive me at the age of 4 to the bulk, the wholesale store.
Yeah.
And I went inside alone on my own, and I picked the right candies and lollipops. I brought them to my mom, and she tells me, I remember the day you told me that you got these candies and not the other ones because this one was cheaper, per unit than the other brand, right? And we used to sell that mostly to the old ladies in the neighborhoods. We thought that we were very cute, to be honest. But this is just one of the probably 30 businesses that I started, between the age of 4 and the age of 18. I have, provided training courses on how to use Word and Excel to the teachers in my elementary school. I've had courses on how to make candles. I've taught programming at college. I did, wash cars. I did a recycling kind of operation in my town. I've done everything. And when I was little, first I thought that it was about the money. And everybody thought that it was about making money. Mm-hmm. And nowadays, I know with 100% certainty that there is no extra dollar in my life that could make me, happier. And I've realized that it's all about bringing people together to do things that you can't do on your own, right? It's about cracking big problems. That's what drives me. That's what makes me happy. That's what keeps me going.
Man, that's awesome. It's great. It's a great story, and I love when somebody talks about they're almost born entrepreneurs, right? They just saw the world differently. So as we in current day and time, there's a lot of challenges going on. Post-pandemic, a lot of people transition, other things going on. Maybe they're displaced. Maybe they find themselves as an entrepreneur for the first time, or maybe their last business didn't work so well, so now they're pivoting. You've got a lot of experience. You've obviously done a lot of different businesses. You've seen a lot of different marketplaces, considering how young you started. What kind of things would you tell to people like entrepreneurs out there that are in transition right now and maybe looking for other resources or different things to do? What kind of advice would you give them?
So back in 2012, I moved from Europe to San Francisco, to the Bay Area. And a year after that, I ended up selling the company that I had started a few years before that. It was like a travel tech company. We sold this business to Lonely Planet, the travel guides brand. And after the acquisition, I realized that I wasn't happy after selling the business, right? I had worked really, really, really hard for like 5 years to build this business. And, we made some good money, but there was nothing new in my life. In fact, there was one thing less that I didn't have in my life. I no longer had a business. But I realized that, the business as a business wasn't doing that great. As a product, it was amazing. We had millions of users, and Lonely Planet bought us because of that amazing product we had built. But I realized that I had spent 5 years building something that you could argue from a business point of view wasn't successful, right? And I still spent 5 years of my life doing that. And in fact, this was a company that I didn't care that much about the problem that I was trying to solve. I chose this company because I wanted to work with a specific co-founder who had this idea. And I decided, okay, let's move forward with your idea, even though I don't find this idea particularly, mind-blowing. And I realized that, when you're an entrepreneur, whether you're successful or not, and, whatever definition of success, and this is a good, by the way, separate topic to discuss what success means, but whatever it is, it's going to take 4 or 5 years of your life if things go not so well, and maybe your entire life if things go well. Life is way too short to waste it doing something that is not meaningful to you, right? There is no money that makes it worth it to spend years of your life doing something you don't care about. So with the new company, instead, I decided to choose something that, in my engineering brain could check 4 different quadrants. If you were to draw 2 axes, one for long term, one for short term, in the 2 sides of the spectrum, and then another axis that is about heart and mind, I wanted a new idea that could check each one of those quadrants. It can give me joy in my heart and joy in my brain in the short term, but also in the long term. And I spent 4 years introspecting into what mattered to me, to the story of my life, talking to people, experimenting before I decided to build the current company, Microverse. So my main piece of advice here is building a company is too hard. It takes a lot of time. So you better choose something that you really, really care about, that matters a lot to you. This company in particular, it is part of the story of my life as an immigrant from Latin America who got to get his education in Europe, who then got to emigrate to the United States, who then got to spend some time teaching in Africa, in Burundi. He got to live in Central America and Asia for a year. I've seen all the sides of the spectrum when it comes to access to opportunities. But I've also gotten to see how much we still need each other. We have things like climate change, or in more, maybe economic, in a more economic place. We have this huge demand for engineers in the current market that we can't satisfy. No matter where you look at, we need more people, more humans contributing to these problems, contributing to the economy. That is a problem that is very close to my heart. I've seen the problem, I've seen the opportunity. What was missing was a bridge between the 2 sides.
It's a great story, and I do want to go further into the company itself. So tell us a little bit more about Microverse, your current company.
Yeah, I'll keep it short, high level, then you can ask me if there are specific things you want to hear more about. But we are a school, but we are kind of a weird school. We don't have teachers. We don't have classes.
That's an interesting tee up, I gotta say.
I know.
First I said we're a school, but we're a weird school. Tell me more. You got me. Come on, Ariel.
And I love weird. I'm weird. Weird is cool. Weird is different. Different means you're challenging the status quo, right? So why is that? Well, I got to see in this time that I was teaching in Burundi how fragile the educational system was, because it depended on teachers that, given the economic circumstances of the countries, under, represented like populations, underdeveloped, parts of the world, we're always going to be at a disadvantage if they're dependent on teachers who have to be available, have to be, trained at the same level that, peers in the developed world had access to. So I went back thinking, how do we come up with a less fragile model that provides access to equal, world-class educational opportunities? And the response to this was this idea of peer-to-peer learning, collaborative or cooperative education. It's this idea that you can learn from a teacher, but in fact, having 30 people all having to move at the same pace, learning from one teacher is not that much better than learning from peers who are from all different parts of the world, different levels, and they'll have different perspectives. The only thing that beats any other pedagogical model is having a dedicated expert teacher per student. And that's, completely utopic. Like that, that's not scalable. That's not realistic for the world. So what is the best version that delivers great educational outcomes, but that is also accessible, affordable, and that, that we can make it scalable for the entire world's population? And it was this idea of collaborative learning. Why do I say that it's weird? Well, because the entire learning experience mimics a real job, but a job that is completely remote and is completely multicultural, completely global. A job that mimics the type of jobs that we are now calling, the future of work. It is this world where people are, joining remote companies from all parts of the world. They're working asynchronously, highly collaboratively, but there is a lot of diversity. There is a lot of conversations that happen in Slack, and there's code reviews and project reviews that happen asynchronously, and then you have coffee chats. We have replicated all of that around the curriculum that we have designed, where 50% is about learning how to code or how to design or how to do digital marketing, but the other 50% is about learning how to work in an environment that mimics what you're going to encounter in the future of work, which right now is the present of work. It is a remote environment with people from all around the world, all cultures, all accents, all religions, and we tackle, we hit two birds with the same stone. On one hand, we get to build this experience that is incredibly diverse and global, so you're learning the skills to have access to global jobs that will pay you much higher than, local alternatives in most countries. But at the same time, because this model doesn't depend on teachers driving the entire experience, but instead it depends on peers who are working as colleagues, building something together, on one is doing, one more senior peer is reviewing the code or the project of a new peer, and you have an even more senior peer who is doing the performance management of the, mid-tier kind of peer and all those things. Then you get to use software to orchestrate this whole experience, because the more skills you have, the better pairings that you can make, the faster you can get the project and the code to be reviewed, and the more systematic that you can offer an education that has or that drives systematically high outcomes. Right now, we have a 65% completion rate of this program, a program that, by the way, you don't have to pay up front. You only pay if you get a high-paying salary after you complete the program. In a learning experience where you don't pay up front, having this level of completion rate, working with a population that is incredibly, that lacks predictability in their lives. We have had students dying of malaria while going through the program. We have had students who had to, get out of Ukraine at the end of the war. Students in Afghanistan who had to also leave their country after the U.S. left. We have had students in Serbia and Kosovo who have to hide the fact that they're working as peers with each other because their parents and uncles who fought the war, not being able to support those things. We are seeing all kinds of, incredibly strong, hard situations. And first of all, one, it has given me a huge appreciation in terms of gratefulness for everything I've done in my life. I won the lottery of life in every possible way. But secondly, it has forced us to rethink how education works so that we can deliver these world-class outcomes with 65% completion rate, 90% job placement rate, 300% average salary increase by going to our program, but be able to do that with a population that lacks predictability in their lives. That has been our focus. That has been the thing that we have managed to achieve.
What kind of response have you heard, like from students and from otherwise? Like, I'm just curious. Like it sounds amazing. They get to get the education now, pay later after they get great job placement and a lot of different things that you mentioned. Like, what kind of response have you gotten?
There are two types. Mostly, the largest number you can split it in two types. One is, this is amazing. This is revolutionary. This is exactly what the world needed. I always share the story of one of our first graduates, Kevin from Kenya. After the program, he got a job at Microsoft. He worked really hard to get that job offer. He's still there. And the day he got the job offer, he told me, Ariel, my mom wants to talk to you. And I'm like, sure, why not? I was, back then I was bootstrapping. Since then, we have raised more than $20 million of capital. It's a different story now, but back then I was doing everything. And I said, of course, yeah, I'll talk to your mom. And I show up in this Zoom meeting, and his mom looks at me and says, with a massive smile on her face, Ariel, I am so proud of my son, but I'm also so grateful to you, right? Those are the kind of reactions. Those are the kind of moments that I live for, that I do, and that I wake up for every single morning. But then you have a different type of reaction, and this sometimes drives me a little bit like mad. It's like, this is too good to be true. There's something fishy about this. There's got to be some hidden agenda or some hidden clause here where I'm going to be indebted for the rest of my life, And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, why is the world, assuming bad stuff from everybody else? And by the way, I'm not surprised about this. Having been born in Argentina, where I lived for 12 years, having left Argentina because of a huge financial crisis where the government kind of let down the entire country. Like, I'm not surprised that a big part of the world is used to being, kind of like disappointed by other people and their governments. But it's a reaction that we still deal with every once in a while, and it's always frustrating.
So, Ariel, I know we're barely scratching the surface on the platform, what you're offering, the value you're putting out there, and I mean just the model that you developed. I think it's amazing, and who better to do it? I mean, you've been launching platforms and training for many, many years. That being said, we're about out of time on this episode, but if somebody wants to follow up and to learn more about Microverse or to connect and just to follow your journey, I mean, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so to learn more about Microverse, just our website, microverse.org. Whether you are an employer looking for more diverse talent to join their company, or support from us on how to get, to work with, more diverse, global team members, how to get a remote working culture set up, our website is a great place to do that. Or if you're a student considering, joining the school. Now, to follow the journey, I publish, I'm not extremely active, but I publish a lot of updates on Twitter. You can find me on twitter.com/Ariel Camus, or on LinkedIn, also LinkedIn/IN/Ariel Camus. I only accept people that I know, but you can follow me there and you can see all the updates that I publish publicly. That will be the way to kind of follow the journey.
Fantastic. And we'll put that information in the show notes so that our audience can just head right on over and check out your work. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time engaging with Mission Matters or listening to an episode or checking out the platform, we're all about bringing on entrepreneurs, executives, and experts and having them share, their background as an entrepreneur, how they got started, what we can all learn from that, their current projects they're working on, and really just to get inspiring content that motivates us and gets us all out there ready to go in the marketplace to make a difference. If that's the type of content that you're into or that sounds interesting or fun, hit that subscribe button. We have many more mission-based individuals just like Ariel coming up on the line, and we don't want you to miss a thing. And Ariel, thanks again for coming on the show. It's really been a pleasure, and I've definitely enjoyed our time today.
Thank you again for having me. It's been a great pleasure.